Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Alison, the online piano and the online violin tutor. As you can see from the title of the video, I'm going to be going through 5 reasons as to why you might not be sounding quite so good on the violin. Some of these reasons, or these 5 reasons, might not be all of the reasons why you're not sounding so great on the violin. I'm sure there are some other reasons as well, but these are just the 5 main ones that I've found from my many years of teaching and the reason why students don't quite sound so good. So these are the 5 main ones that I think are going to make a difference and are the most important. Okay, so if you think that might sound a little bit familiar to you, here are the 5 reasons why that isn't sounding so good. So the first thing is the tuning. So you can hear the tune, the strings are not in tune. Now it's really important that your violin, the first thing that your violin, before you do anything else, before you pick it up to play anything, your violin must be in tune. And one thing I recommend is to get one of these little tuners. Now this is the Dario NS micro tuner, and it is a little bit more expensive than the other tuners that you can get, like the guitar tuners that maybe clip onto the end of the peg. This one actually sits on the side of the violin, so this is the most accurate device that I have found to tune the violin. The link of where you can get this will be directly underneath this video. Alternatively, you can use a piano as well if you can, but obviously in this situation I don't have a piano, so I always take this around with me in my case when I'm out and about performing at events and things like that, just so I can very quickly tune my violin and it's done within seconds. Okay, so we have a nicely tuned violin. The second thing that you would have noticed I was doing there is the bow hold. Now it's really important that you have a good bow hold and you don't just hold the bow kind of, it's not a golf club or anything like that. You've got to grip the bow properly. So what you will need to do is, I've got videos on this. I'll link a video where I'm actually showing you more in detail about the bow hold underneath here, but between the ferrule and the frog, you're going to put your thumb in there, the middle 2 fingers go over, and then the index finger kind of slides on the silver part of the ferrule, and the little finger just gently, just kind of sits just before the tip of the bow. So I know you can't see this in great detail, but if you go and watch that video underneath, that shows you a lot more in detail and close up exactly how to hold the bow. So you really do have to make sure that you've got a bow grip, a good bow grip, because that will make all the difference. You can't just hold the bow like that because you're just not going to have the right angle with the arm and everything. So if you make sure that you're gripping the bow properly, your arm, your right arm, your bow arm can be in the right angle to do all of the bowing that you need to do. And that kind of goes hand in hand as to where you're bowing on the string. So if you noticed, I was just bowing any old how. And what you want to try and make sure that you do is to keep the bow straight. So between the bridge and the fingerboard. So you can see that my bow is straight here as I'm bowing up. What I'm not doing is, I'm not doing that, and most importantly, my arm is not swinging out any further than my back. So if you can see, if I'm bowing in this direction, you can see that my arm stays level with the side of my body, and it is really just moving from the elbow. If I just move it from the elbow, you can see then that the bow is completely straight on the violin. That means I'm not going to have it going beyond the bridge, which isn't going to sound very nice at all, and it isn't going to be going onto the fingerboard, which also isn't going to be sounding very nice. So it wants to be sort of more or less in the middle between the bridge and the fingerboard consistently, and that is where you're going to get the best sound. The other thing I just wanted to mention as well, I'll go back and say, when you're doing the bowing, apart from keeping the bow completely straight, what you want to learn to do as well is isolate each string. So you're not playing on. so you're not playing on 2 strings. So that has to do with the angle of the bow. So you can see as my arm is moving up and down here, like it is here. So I know that for the G, my arm is here. For the D, my arm goes down to there. So I'm talking this part of my arm. For the A, it's roughly here, and for the E, it's roughly there. So I know that if I want to play the G on its own, I've got to raise my arm to about this level. I know if I want to play the A, I've got to raise it or lower it down to that level. The E would be down here, and so on. So that in combination with keeping the bow straight, so keeping the bow straight for the G string here, and then if you want to bow on the A, tilt your arm down, keeping the bow straight. So all of that will help you kind of get a good tone on the violin as well with the bowing, but also stop you hitting the other strings. Now that again, that goes hand in hand into the position, or the position of your hand as well on the neck. So you probably will have noticed that I had my fingers crunched up, you know, I wasn't really able to move them, and my palm of my hand was flat up against the neck of the violin, which is a massive no-no. What you must do is have that palm completely down, so it is nice, and you've got almost like a nice kind of straight line from, say, the top of your knuckles, your finger knuckles, all the way sort of down to your elbow. If you learn to play that way, you're going to have problems later on because you're not going to be able to shift anywhere on the violin, so it's a very bad habit to get into. So what you want to do is be holding with the very tip of your thumb, just sort of needs to be kind of about there on the violin. So you don't want it too high up. Some people do. Again, that kind of varies, but I don't. So probably almost level with the fingerboard. So maybe a tiny little kind of couple of millimeters of your thumb poking out above the strings there, and then your fingers should just kind of loosely kind of fall over onto the strings. But the important thing is you've got this gap here where you can sort of almost fit a tennis ball in there. Definitely not having your fingers, the palm of your hand up to the neck, but having them hanging down. Number 5 is the position of the violin. So you'll notice that I was playing like this. You can't play like this. So everything all in combination, everything all hunched up with the hands and playing like this, it's just not possible to do. So one of the second most important thing after tuning of the violin is probably holding the violin. So again, I'll link to the video where I'm going to be showing you this in a lot more detail, and I'll put a link to that directly underneath. So I'll just briefly go over it, but you want to be holding the violin out at around about 10 o'clock-ish, if you're thinking sort of 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. The violin wants to be out between maybe 10 and 11, so this would be 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock. 9 o'clock is just a bit too, you can see it's a bit too far back, because then it's just nowhere near my chin, and my bow arm has to come round too much. So around about 10 o'clock. So if you have the violin straight like a table, so not up in the air, not down, just sort of straight like a table, out to the side, fingers down, hand down, proper bow grip, and try and bowing in the middle, then you won't have any problems. So there we go, I hope you enjoyed the video. 5 reasons why you might be sucking at the violin, and hopefully if you put those 5 reasons into practice, it will make a huge difference in your violin playing. So have a go at those, and if it's made a difference for you, then let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you got on with those. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.